Do you know if there is news of a Tesla stock buyback finally happening? There is so much news about Tesla that it is almost too hard to be updated on each one of them. Make sure to stay tuned and keep watching to find out more about this. Tesla is almost always in the news, mainly because of its controversial CEO Elon Musk. Most people say that Musk being controversial is a marketing ploy for Tesla to become known. When Musk acquired shares of Twitter recently, it was a huge controversy and became a reason of concern to Tesla investors. Today, you will find out if a Tesla stock buyback is finally happening. In May, billionaire Leo Kogowan, who claims to be the third largest individual shareholder of Tesla stock, is calling on the carmaker to announce a $15 billion stock buyback as the company's share price continues to fall. He said in a tweet, "Please ask Martin Vicha, head of investor relation of Tesla, if I am Professor Leo Kogowan and the third largest individual shareholder of Tesla who owns more Tesla shares than that of ARK Invest and Barron Capital." To which Martin Vicha, Tesla's senior director of investor relations, answered, "I can confirm this." In a tweet to Vicha, Kogowan said the company should immediately announce its plans to buy back $5 billion of Tesla shares this year and $10 billion next year. He added that Tesla should use its free cash flow to fund the buyback and that it shouldn't affect its existing $18 billion cash reserves. In another tweet, Kogowan said Tesla's free cash flow amounted to $2.2 billion in the first quarter of the year. He added that he expects it to climb to $8 billion this year and $17 billion next year after capital expenditures have been factored in. He also said that Tesla can invest in full self-driving, its Optimus bot, and new factories while also buying back its undervalued stocks. A stock buyback, when a public company uses cash to buy shares of its own on the open market, is a method that firms use to try to return capital to shareholders. Investors and investing enthusiasts had been anticipating Tesla's Q2 earnings call. In line with this, there are several questions that they wished were answered in the said earnings call. First, how is the 4680 ramp going? Second, is Giga Texas producing sales yet? Third, when will the Cybertruck be officially available? Fourth, is Tesla considering a buyback of shares? Although this question was already asked in the previous earnings call, it was not answered, so Tesla shareholders want Tesla to buy back its own shares so it can effectively increase the stock price. Investors had been complaining about how Tesla share prices are getting beat down and they want something like a short-term rally to happen. They believe that if Tesla definitely buys back its own shares, it can definitely help the stock price go higher. A few days ago, Tesla finally released the Q2 2022 earnings call. The EV company released its financial results and shareholders' letter for the second quarter of 2022 after market close. Before the earnings call, Wall Street expected $16.521 billion in revenue and earnings of $1.81 per share. The expectations represent a rare quarter-to-quarter decrease for Tesla due to the forced shutdown of Gigafactory Shanghai, resulting in about 250,000 deliveries instead of well over 300,000 that was expected. However, according to the financial results Tesla has just released, the automaker reported revenues of $16.934 billion, about $400 million more than Wall Street expected, and earnings per share of $2.27, non-GAAP versus $1.81 expected by Wall Street. The company managed to increase its cash position by $0.8 billion to $18.3 billion during the quarter. We continue to make significant progress across the business during the second quarter of 2022. Though we faced certain challenges, including limited production and shutdowns in Shanghai for the majority of the quarter, we achieved an operating margin among the highest in the industry of 14.6%, a positive free cash flow of $621 million, and ended the quarter with the highest vehicle production month in our history. Tesla stated through the Q2 earnings call. Automotive gross margin came in at 27.9%, down from 32.9% last quarter and 28.4% a year ago, impacted by inflation and more competition for battery cells and other components that go into electric vehicles. Moreover, the company generated $344 million in automotive regulatory credits revenue in the second quarter, the company said in its shareholder deck. That's a $10 million or nearly 3% decline from the same period in in 2021. Musk said that Tesla's new factory outside of Berlin surpassed 1,000 cars per week in June, and he expects the company's new factory in Austin, Texas, to exceed the 1,000 per week production milestone in the next few months. When it comes to inflation concerns, Musk has this to say: "I think inflation will decline towards the end of this year," but continued to warn investors to take that prediction with a grain of salt. Tesla's CFO Zachary Kirkhorn said, "Austin and Berlin ramp inefficiencies will continue to weigh on our margins for the balance of the year. However, the impact should reduce as we increase ramp." Executives on the call said that for most commodities, Tesla is now seeing a downward trend towards the end of this year or next year. However, Musk said there were exceptions. "The processing of lithium is insane," he said, and once again called on entrepreneurs to enter the lithium refining business. "You can't lose. It's a license to print money," he said. What are your expectations for Tesla for the third quarter? Let us know in the comment section below. Musk said Q2 was a unique quarter for Tesla due to a prolonged shutdown of our Shanghai factory. But in spite of all these challenges, it was one of the strongest quarters in our history. Most importantly, in June, we achieved production records in both Fremont and Shanghai. Now, to answer the first question investors would like to know, that 4680 will be important next year, but it is not important for this year, according to Tesla CEO Elon Musk. He explained that they have installed the second generation of manufacturing equipment for 4680 cells in Texas and other established factories like Fremont and Shanghai as they continue to expand capacity. Regarding Autopilot, Musk shared that they have deployed FSD beta with city streets driving capability to over 100,000 owners. He said that the owners are very happy with the capability of the system, and the company will continue to improve it every week. As for the much-anticipated release of the Cybertruck, Musk said that they are expecting to be in production with the Cybertruck in the middle of next year. He said that the team continues to focus on Cybertruck production readiness and some future platform design. According to Zachary Kirkhorn, Tesla's chief financial officer, the Fremont factory, supported by the Reno team, reached new production records. The Shanghai factory resumed full production, and new factories in Austin and Berlin are progressing well through their initial ramps. He also said that they are making progress on 4680 but are still leveraging supplier cells, which they have insufficient quantity to ramp Texas and Berlin. They expect to ramp total 4680 production to exceed 1,000 per week by the end of the year. While there were a lot of questions answered, both from investors and analysts present in the call, the question about the Tesla stock buyback was not raised. Thus, there was no information about it given at the Q2 earnings call. Again, a stock buyback is when a public company uses cash to buy shares of its own stock on the open market. A company may do this to return money to shareholders that it doesn't need to fund operations and other investments. In this case, value means a rising share price. That said, Tesla investors are pushing for a Tesla stock buyback, especially since the stock is currently sitting at the $700 to $800 range, today at $816.73, which is up by 0.2%, and they wish for the stock to raise its value. It can be noted that there are very high price valuations from analysts and investors alike. Unfortunately, as much as investors want this request answered, it was not asked, hence not answered during the Q2 earnings call. Of course, that is not the only avenue to ask that question, especially since Tesla CEO Elon Musk is almost always on Twitter and can usually be found replying to users' tweets. Perhaps one of these days, Musk may just address this concern. Make sure to visit Tesla stock and watch our other videos.